The research question was, is anxiety and depression in adults correlated with homosexual orientation or childhood gender nonconformity? The greater correlation was with the latter, acting different than your same gender peers as a child. The interesting part of this for me was that the levels of anxiety and depression in heterosexual people, male and female, who in their childhood years exhibited nonconformity, was at the same level as homosexual adults who had the same experience. At the heart of this question, I think there's no doubt that homosexual people, including Latter-day Saints, as adults go through traumatic experiences emotionally in their lives that heterosexual people don't. The question is why? Is it because those mental challenges go along for the ride with being gay? I think the answer is no. I think the answer most likely resides in the fact that these people experience a level of societal disapproval that most of us can't even imagine. There are other people in this room who could be much more helpful than I on this issue. Yes, sir.
Is there a way to access the video from tonight? Do we know?
I'm sorry, I missed it.
Is there a way to get access to the video that's being recorded tonight?
I don't know the answer to that. If you're interested, why don't you use the sheet here, and I'll try to respond when I know. And again, may I remind any who are interested of this contact information for the student group. Yes, sir.
Wish this was more scientific of a question, but how do we as LES members help our fellow members when it's actually our church selling data that's saying that 30% of pedophiles are gay? And this book is being sold through Deseret Bookstore. Stand for the Family, and this lady is stating some supposed research that says that homosexuals make up 30% of pedophiles. How do we help our brothers and sisters see through this stuff that's being sold through our bookstores?
Number one, satisfy yourself about what the truth is. You can read the papers. Sometimes they're a little tricky, but you can skip over some of the very statistical stuff and get to the conclusion. Satisfy yourself about what's true. And then don't stay silent in elders' terms. When something's said is wrong. Yes, sir.
Well, I can tell your conclusions and your evidence leads you at odds with the majority of the church membership and some of the general authorities. Would you be willing to share some of your feelings of what you had to deal with being at odds with your position?
Being odd is really a burden. Elmer says the church doesn't have a position on the question we addressed tonight. I take him at his word. Clearly, there are differences. I guess I'm going to refer to the same formula. Find out what's true, and don't be afraid to express it. Isn't that what the purpose of this university is? Please.
I've met a lot of gay LDS people who have found one of their best choices to be suicide, and and many have attempted this many times, and they're scared to death to talk to their family, to their church leaders, to anyone, to their school, for fear that they'll be rejected, and also that they're going to hurt the people that they love by telling them this, by disappointing them. What would you say to somebody that came to you and said that this is the best option they can see, the one that would hurt the least amount of people? How would you respond to that?
To one of my gay brothers and sisters who was contemplating suicide. Question is about suicide and what might be said to people whose lives have reached the point where inexplicably, or at least sadly beyond belief, they find this as their only option. I know what I do first. I throw my arms around this person and hug them to me as close as I could and say, I love you, and don't you do it. You have one person who cares about you, and you have a lot more that you don't know about who care about you. Give a little bit more credit to your parents. If they don't respond at first, give them a few months. Give them a few years. I'm sure you would all find better things than I could at the moment to say in response. How can the Latter-day Saints rationalize having our gay brothers and sisters take their lives because they are so marginalized or have such a sense of being unwanted that they can't go on? What better way could we fulfill our baptismal covenant to mourn with those that mourn than to mourn with these people who have been subjected to so much? I will also offer my opinion that my Heavenly Father has special blessings in store for these people in recognition of how valiant they are and what goodness they have made of their lives in spite of the extraordinary challenge that they face in this life. You've sat here for a very long time, and some of you need to go home and study. And some of you have kids that need to be tucked in bed. Thank you so much for coming. I hope Heavenly Father will help us all to do better. Thank you very much.